Dear all, this is Dr. Bijolin again. I like to take a topic on introducing storage networking for the subject virtualization. So when we see about this storage networking, it is a practice of linking together storage devices and connecting them to other IT networks. So it can be any other mode of IT networks. This storage network, it provides a centralized repository for digital data that can be accessed by many users, many end users, and they use this kind of high-speed connections to provide fast performance. So that's why we go through this storage networking. Few factors that can be contributed are with storage networking. High-speed data network is dedicated to all the storage devices. So when we work with the storage devices through the accessing to the data centers, so here it comes high speed of data network. So that is the main objective of going through this storage networking. Several factors that can be contributed to this growth of storage networks. So lot more amount of volume of data that can be coupled with exponential data growth. So lot more amount of volume of data can be handled, and it can either storing the data or retrieval of data. So that case, n number of volumes of data can be handled. The other one is that high cost of storage resources. So that is also another one important aspect. The main focus on is on data protection and recovery. So there are many security algorithms that is being relied that is being focused on this data, because though we are handling lot more amount of data, the data should be very safe. So due to taking into the consideration of this kind of scenarios, we focus on mainly we also focus on data protection and recovery. How to recover the data? Suppose if there is any loss of data, or if there is any crash in a database, how can we retrieve that kind of data? So that is another one big concern. And the main important communicating part is a SCSI, small computer system interface. So this small computer system interface, it is a set of parallel interface standard that is being developed by the American National Standard Institute for attaching the hardware devices and other peripherals to the computer system. So it is also being supported by all major operating systems. So there is no hardship in going through this SCSI devices. So the main popular choice for connecting both the external and internal storage to servers is through the SCSI cable. So one of the arts with SCSI is to make sure all parts are compatible with each other. So here you can see there is an Ethernet switch. So there is a network backbone, so in which all the servers are being interconnected through this Ethernet switch, and here the other way, so through the storage area network. So here the SCSI is being interconnected between the switch and this servers. So the communicating parts, everything, it relies upon this SCSI devices, and make sure that all end-to-end connections are being set properly before starting up the implementation part. And here you can see the SCSI adapter. So this is a SCSI pin, and there are some primary terms associated with SCSI systems. So these are the few terms. Chain is there. So these are being connected together on the same SCSI bus itself. So HBA, so there is a host bus adapter. So this is a card. So it's an interface card that acts as an interface between the SCSI bus and the computer. So there is a which connect the SCSI bus to the computer, and there is a SCSI ID, and this ID is being, it's a unique number that is being assigned to each SCSI device on this SCSI bus itself. LUN, logical unit number. So it provides a way to differentiate between the both devices. One is SCSI devices and the SCSI ID number. So there is a SCSI bus and there is a narrow, wide, and terminator. So narrow, it has 8-bit bus. That means it uses 50-pin connector. Wide, but it has 16-bit bus. It uses 68-pin connector. Then there is a terminator. So here there will be a group of resistors that will be placed on end of the SCSI bus that will prevent deflection of this SCSI signal. So if there is any variation in SCSI signals, this terminator will take into consideration. And there is also another one, target pin. So this is also another name for this SCSI device. So this also helps in communicating the server with the systems. So here you can see the ID, SCSI ID number and LUN. So here through this only all the devices will be SCSI devices will share its SCSI ID. Many disk arrays also they have the single ID of configurable SCSI ID, and LUN number ID also will be shared in the drive array. So this is another main thing. Using this SCSI bus. So what are the main objective of using this SCSI buses? So it acts as a data path between the SCSI devices. So here it's a bus that consists of the host bus adapter. It has some cables, it has terminators, and also it make the connection between all interconnected SCSI devices. Few SCSI are being it is being daisy chained. So here you can see the daisy chained SCSI. So here you have one port, again it is being daisy chained with another port. The same SCSI, it has the third port, and another it has a fourth port. So it is being daisy chained connected. Several devices are connected on a single SCSI bus, and in narrow SCSI it uses 8-bit, and wide SCSI it uses 16-bit bus, and these are the types. So here we have different SCSI bus type. Its width being given in bits, and its bandwidth, what's the bandwidth it can uphold. And here the SCSI interface which can be divided into different categories. One is single-ended, the second one is differential or high voltage differential. So the third one is low voltage differential. So the SCSI will be interconnected with these three main kind of components. First one is the single-ended SCSI. So here these are generally the least expensive, and consequently they are most commonly being used because it's very least expensive. This kind of SCSI devices are being commonly used. So when they use this, all the electronic signals that travel through this wire and by this ground connection, they have that's why their name is single-ended. So that's the main aspect of the single-ended SCSI. And the next one is differential or high voltage differential. So here they send high volt of electronic signal or pass of wires. They have a lot more amount of data to transmit, and the transmission over the differential medium less susceptible to noise than this SCSI devices. And the next is low voltage differential. So this low voltage differential, it bursts the data rates at the rate of 80 megabits per second. It also provides differential data integrity. So as we rely on data integrity, this low voltage differential SCSI device it plays a major role in keeping up track of all this data. And termination. So already we have seen about the termination. Where does this termination comes? So so here there is a terminator, and here suppose when any pitfall happens when we work with the SCSI, when the system is being overloaded, and if the SCSI prompt to make any pitfall, so a terminator is there. So the terminator will immediately it has a right to terminate the connection between the system and the SCSI device, and this prevent the signal from SCSI being reflected to the bus repeatedly. So also it can act as a load that the SCSI signal can be dissipated across the entire system. So this is a main concept behind this termination. And where to terminate. So we have seen about the terminator. So here this is a terminator where we have seen, and the terminator will be placed on the right locations of the SCSI bus. Also this terminator will be placed at the mostly it will be placed at the end of the bus. So and the main advice is not to use the terminator in the middle of the bus, because when the terminator it stops a signal, so there can be a chance of data loss. So that's what they make terminator at the end of the bus. And here you can see the terminator. It might be look like this. So the terminator that is being connected at the end of the SCSI device. So these are the SCSI hard disk that is being interconnected with the SCSI device. And just remember the rules of using this SCSI devices. Make sure that the SCSI host adapter is being terminated once when we complete all the data communication part. Terminate the last device connected to the internal bus. So when we connect the other bus with the existing host devices, we make sure that the last device connected to the internal bus. Make sure that the SCSI host adapter is being terminated, and also disable the termination on the SCSI host adapter. Terminate the last device connected to the internal bus. Also terminate the last devices connected to the external bus. So internal and external bus are the important concept here. So terminate both the information. And here there is terminator types. So single-ended termination is there. So when you take this single-ended terminator, so this SCSI devices can be terminated by using the two common approach. One is passive and second one is active. So this being made like a post perfect termination. So the difference between each termination is passive means the termination that is being provided by a symbol resistor network. That means it isn't recommended for SCSI 2. When we take an active termination, the termination network aided by voltage regulator. So this is being activated by this voltage regulator. So the voltage that is being regulated will result in the good signal. So that can be recommended for other SCSI buses. And then first perfect termination is the third one of this terminator types. So it is being provided using the one clamping kind of diode network. So that can result in additional current on this SCSI bus. So this kind of terminator can also possible for this cable lengths. So that is another main concept related to this terminator type. Low voltage differential termination. When we take this low voltage differential termination, so it has the voltage of 1.25 voltage source, and high voltage differential termination. So it has about 2.25 voltage of differential of this termination. So here this uses a form of passive termination mode, and also we must remember that never use this kind of terminators on this this SCSI other SCSI device bus. Okay, so this is other two important aspect. And when we select the cable selection, when deciding on cables, we should make sure that some cables that are configured by single wires, but better cables use the twisted pair of conductors. So when you use the twisted pair of conductor cables, so it will be very so there will not be any data loss when you use this kind of twisted pairs of conductors. And here we use this for reducing the fiber channel. And here when we use this fiber channel, the architecture will be versatile and scalable. Also they offer different advantage like faster than it is faster than SCSI device. Also, it allows cable distance to be nearly up to 10 kilometers. So that is the main advantage of using this fiber channel. Nowadays, this cable TV they use the fiber channel because the data transmission rate is very high. Also, the clarity of data is very minute. So they use this kind of fiber channel. Also, this kind of fiber channel, it supports up to 16 million interconnected storage devices. So that is the main aspect behind this. Then switched fabric storage area network. Here you can see the switch which acts as a core among all this disk arrays. So there is a tape library in which any required amount of library files will be stored in this tape library, and there is a router that connects between the storage area network switch and the tape library. Also, it interconnects with this LAN area networks. So this is a switched fabric storage network. So here we have a number of servers that is being interconnected with the switched network with the storage devices. That is right concept. So there are some reasons why not to use this fiber channel. So it is the main thing is that it's more expensive, and also the implementations are more complex because it is twisted pair. It requires additional maintenance consideration. So these are the main aspects of the storage area network. So friends, we have seen about all the important aspects of SCSI devices, why there is a need for the storage area networks, how SCSI plays an important major role, and also about the fiber optics cable. So thank you.